listening. All those prayers unanswered. You're fooling yourself.
God, a myth for the weak. Look at the world. Chaos, suffering. Where's your savior now?
What kind of man are you? Always second guessing, never decisive. Real men lead, you follow. You falter, pathetic. Choices define you.
She deserves better. Your love is weak, unreliable.
How long would you see the fraud? You're an apple rock. You're crumbly sand.
Daddy, you're supposed to protect, teach, inspire. But look, failures pile up. What legacy are you leaving?
The battle within never ends. Fight me if you can.
Right now, open the door. Open the door.
Good morning, Will. Welcome to the first edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host and moderator, Christopher J.
It's just that I didn't want to force this out there. Oh, Lord, y'all just don't know how it feels to be back. I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm going to try to solve this the best way I can. Oh. Maybe later on down the future, but as of right now, that's not now. It's not the time. I'm not a wordsmith, neither. Not yet, at least. But I want to say there are some words that are being misused and misrepresented. Hey, y'all. Welcome to another edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. Sorry. I'm in my own house. I'm doing this episode today to say goodbye.
Hey y'all, Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2021 and welcome to another edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. I'm not going to agree with everything he says, but he do make a lot of sense and he makes a lot of great points. So much so that I put him on the list of black people I need to listen to. Matter of fact, I'm shooting straight from the hip. We got a lot to talk about today. So I need all the black women, all the black men to come here, shut up, and listen.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the first live stream of the BTSI show. I am your host, Christopher J. Of course, you got Amanda Seals' character. Her name escapes my mind at the moment. But when I watched it, I noticed she had some pink and green. I said, okay, she was an AKA. Now, according to the blogs, the fans, social media, they didn't appreciate that she was rocking pink and green, representing AKA sororities. Now, you guys are watching on YouTube. You notice my background looks a little different. I'm at my mom's house. Here's why. Unfortunately, my house is affected with the new variant. Those of you guys who are watching me, you're watching me now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I'm on my IG Live right now. And of course, you guys can see the background. I'm also on Clubhouse.
You offended me. You should be fired. I say, if you're offended, you should go talk to your father and go get thicker skin. Here's why.
As you got to see, we are in Washington, D.C. I made it to the Capitol building. And guess what? I found a co host. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Brittany B.
Hi, yay!
Thank you guys for tuning in. And Brittany, thank you for being a co host, helping me out with this. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
But you guys already know what to do. Welcome to the BTSI show. Christopher J, Brittany B, do us a favor. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube.
Make sure you hit the like button.
Follow us on our.
You mad cause your daughter with me on spring break? Well, Hallelujah, thank God that it's been another day. Hallelujah, gotta chop it and let them spray. Hallelujah, thank God that it's been another day. Hallelujah, gotta chop it and let them spray. Roll another one cause I'm winning. In my photo, looking real photogenic. Gentleman attire and threads that won't inspire. I'm in a class of my own, my teacher got fired. Money getting low, we rate keep rising. Versace outfit cost me 3,000. From the P houses, did it from the wheat hours. Selling that chicken, no lemon pepper, no sweet and sour. Hallelujah, thank God that it's been another day. Hallelujah, gotta chop it and let them spray. Hallelujah, thank God that it's been another day. Hallelujah, gotta chop it and let them spray.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. Thank you guys for tuning in. As y'all can see, I'm a little bit multitasking right about now. Hold on, we live on. Let's see. Let me add that word. I said mega, not marijuana. Jesus Christ. Let me add that word. That sounds like a large enough word. All right, we're doing that. And y'all, I know, Chris, how long have you been doing this and you still not ready? I know, whatever. Get X out of here. Let me go here. Let me drop this. All right. Let them know. So let them know what we're doing, and boom. Where we at? There we go. Okay. Now we can focus. So, thank you guys for tuning in to the BTSI show. Do me a favor, if you want more content like this, please subscribe and share, follow me on all social links are located in the description, and I need to get that updated. I'll tell you guys why in a minute. Participate with all rights to privacy. We're on the road to 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. And once we reach that goal, we will do another Cash App giveaway. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the BTSI show. I'm actually just noticing all the platforms, and I'm looking at myself on IG Live right now. That's dope. Of course, we're here on Clubhouse, but yeah, there's some other platforms that we're on. Excuse me, that we're live from. How many platforms are we going live from right now, hey Brown? Let's see. Let's count the ways. Of course, we're on YouTube right now. We're on Facebook, obviously. Twitch, yes. And of course, Clubhouse. So that's 4. Well, I have an announcement that I wanted to make. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we are back on Instagram Live. Yes. I know it's only for an hour. The first hour of the stream will be just like how WWE does the first hour of a PLE on ESPN or ESPN2. Instagram's on that type of time. They was ahead of the game. So the first hour of the BTSI show will be airing on Instagram Live. Next up, so what's that? YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Clubhouse, Instagram. That's 5 platforms. Shall we have more? Sure. Welcome back, X. We are back on the app formerly known as Twitter, X. Yes. I've been meaning to get that back a long time. I just been taking my foot off the pedal with X. And trust me, X has been very supportive, like getting a lot of views and getting the message out. So shout out to the people of X. So that's 6. 6, ladies and gentlemen. So what if I say we're making a debut right now? What if I say that green looks nice on me? What if I tell you we're on Kick right now, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, the BTSI show is live and debuting on the Kick streaming app. That's kick.com/the BTSI show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on Kick. So what made me decide to re-add those apps and start going on Kick? The fact of the matter is this. I'm on cruise control when it comes to the creative process. Now I can work on the expanding. We are expanding the BTSI show. We're expanding the platforms. We're getting the message out there. So I decided to go ahead and not be a late bloomer, an intentional late bloomer, and decided to give a Kick. And I'm going to be honest. Y'all going to see me doing a lot of things with Kick, Twitch, and TikTok Live. Yes, we're going back to TikTok Live. TikTok Live is not part of this. And honestly, I'm going to be honest. Really going to be honest. With things that is happening, I may switch out TikTok Live for Clubhouse. Maybe. We will see. We will definitely see. Have a conversation with the team and see to it that we get that done. So we are definitely, and I mean definitely, going to take all of that into consideration. But yes, sir, we got Kush in the building. Kush, what's good, man?
What's good? What's good? How y'all feeling?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we are simulcast. This has to be the largest simulcast that I've done in the last 12 years. So, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram, Kick, now, and also Clubhouse. And like I said, I did not forget about my TikTok Live. So, we're gonna start incorporating all of that soon. Now, granted, I may have to switch out Clubhouse for TikTok Live or just go get another device to make all of this possible. But we will definitely see what the future holds. I'm all about expanding. My creative flow has been consistent. And as I turn around and look at the field, I don't see too many people keeping up with my process of creativity. Which is why I always tell people, if you want to get in a battle with me, you already lost, because the only thing you're battling is my brain and the limitations that it already doesn't have. So pick your battles wisely, and I might revisit that conversation later on at the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. So let's not wait any longer. Let's get started. Let's get into some quick hits, shall we? Now, before I came on here, these two news popped up on my newsfeed, and I think it's worth talking about. Gas prices. This is what we found out, well, at least what I found out in the last 2 hours.
Huge amount of time that it's going to take, according to the futures market, before we get back down to that sub $70 an oil level. Look at this, 2032. So you want $3 gas again, you're going to have to wait maybe 6 years. And so what does that mean for everything? Look at this. Produce, clothing, airfare, gas, shipping, all of these rely on high gas prices, high oil prices. All of them are going to continue to be more expensive as long as this lasts.
I'm sorry, did I hear you correctly? Did you say 2032?
Yeah, so if you look at this, this tells you what the oil market is predicting prices will be in the future. We don't get...
Excuse my language. The fuck are you talking about? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
So in breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, it is projected that the national average, which is at $4.49 right now for a regular gas, ladies and gentlemen, it is expected to get back to $3 in 2032. And diesel, I saw the diesel number. You don't want me to repeat those numbers on this straight. Trust me. Now, this all has everything to do with the war that we're in. I'm telling you this right now. It has everything to do with this war. And I'm really judging, when it comes to judging the president of the United States, if you don't inconvenience my life, you're doing your job. Donald Trump did a good job of not inconveniencing my life during his first run. And I'll go as far as to say I cannot think of any president in my lifetime, because the first time I was eligible to vote was Obama first term. None of these presidents have affected my life directly. Even on the indirect approach, I haven't felt any pressure. So I'm going to give you your credit as the president of the United States for not making my life harder than what it already is. Ladies and gentlemen, gas is one of those things that affect my life. And if you remember, if you saw what the guy just said, when it comes to gas, it affects produce, it affects other parts of, it affects the 18-wheelers, the truck driving industry, all these stuff that we rely on, it affects them. Now, some people say, what's the big deal? If the gas prices are going to go up, everything else is going to go up with it. And I know how people get down. They want to say, hey, go to your employer and say, hey, I need a pay raise. Yeah, once you get a pay raise, the cost of living tends to go higher. And it's a continuous cycle, ladies and gentlemen. The only people that got this shit right was Popeyes, because Popeyes chicken is back to $2 a special. But that's neither here nor there. So when it comes to President Trump, if I had to give him a grade, he is, like I said, you really inconvenienced my life with these gas prices. So you are, I must say, you are chilling at a C average right now. And it can get lower. Because once the cost of living starts going up everywhere else, yes, your grade as a president will start to plummet. Just letting you know that right now. And Kush, we got 4 topics. Then we're going to get to the main show. You want to jump in at any time, just feel free. I won't stop you, man.
Okay, definitely. I'll put him at a D- right now. That's my take on it.
D-. I'm not going to fight you for that. I understand.
Yeah, because like you said, he's making moves that's affecting everyday livelihood for everybody. So across the board, black, white, brown, yellow, he's affecting everybody. So he's doing a bad job right now.
Right.
Everybody said give him a chance, and we've given him a chance, and this is what he's done. So
Yeah, and 2.5 more years to go with this, if I recall correctly. Now, if I was old enough to vote during the Bush Jr., yeah, I'm going to be, yeah, that he's chilling at an F. But Donald Trump, like I said, I gave him a C. Kush gave him a D minus. I'm not mad at it right now. Like I said, it can get lower. It can get much lower. But next topic. Now, I am a believer, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and I do believe people have the right to express themselves in the Word of God. This is different. This is, well, just listen.
A woman can't raise children. You can't raise children with tits. You gotta have balls. You gotta have a man. And for a man to not take responsibility to raise his children or to be executed, you have a responsibility before God. And we don't want to hear that. Women's rights. No. We got the sickest, poorest, economically deficient people on the planet. The other thing is this, is that when that boy Mondami came out on the scene, this nigga is a Muslim. He is a jihadist, if you will, intifada, if you must, Hamas supporting anti-Jesus Muslim. And niggas are talking about he got a good program. I don't give a damn how good his program is. He's a Muslim and Jesus is Lord. And I'm voting for him and I ain't tell nobody else to vote for him. The hell's wrong with you? I'm tired of the Democrat Party making bitches out of our women and pussies out of our men. I'm tired of it. I've had enough of it. The man needs to stand up and be a man. A woman can't raise children.
He said, I'm tired of the Democrat Party making bitches out of our women and pussy out of our men. Now, what's up, content? Let's see you there, my bad brother. So, put the language to the side. I understand traditional people saying that type of language is not acceptable in the church house. Just hold off on that and put that to the side. I didn't find anything that he said wrong. I really did not find anything that he said that was wrong. Matter of fact, now, like I said, language to the side, if you have more pastors who are honest like this, people will actually go back to church. Especially black men will go back to church. Because now you're speaking their language. Some people are going to say what that pastor said was extreme, uncalled for, and unnecessary. My response to that is real simple. You must be a Democrat. You must be a Democrat. And if you are a Democrat, no shade, no offense, but you just proved his point. I do believe it's better for the men. It's better for the boys to be with the men. Obviously, both parents, but if I had to choose, obviously, it's better for the boys to be with the men. And to the point where he said, any man that is not trying to be in their son's life or do for their child shall be executed. I get it. I understand. In other words, you need more, whether he's a pastor or he's on a corner or he's at work or he's a professor, you need more people like this. Like I said, we'll get to the biblical stuff down the road. But what he said as a man, hey, I agree with what he's saying. No pushback here. Fellas, what you got on that? If you heard what he said, what you guys got on this pastor, the cussing pastor, I guess, preaching the word of Democrat Party turning women to bitches and pussies out of men. What's your take on that?
He's 100% right. I don't see anything wrong with nothing that he said. You know, I've seen this reposted all on social medias and people going at it in the comments, and it's like it's crazy. It's so much you can speak on this topic when it comes to the Democrat Party, but it's literally become a joke. You get what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
Like, just look at Kamala chose as her running mate. Like, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's pathetic at this point.
Right. I agree 100% as well. Oh, my dog going crazy. Yeah, I agree 100% as well. So it's crazy just to look at, what's being said and how he said it. It may have came across as harsh to some people, but he's speaking the truth. And people always sit back and say, oh, well, you talking too harsh, or you talking to this, or you talking to that. No, he's telling you the truth. People don't want to hear the truth nowadays. And that's their problems. That's their issue. You don't want to hear the truth. And you need to hear the truth to get something to click in your brain to make you understand that things need to change.
Absolutely. I know some people just don't like the title he has or the location he chose to deliver that message. I hear you, but like I said, you're proving this point. We can get to the other stuff later. That's between the body of believers. But as far as those, everybody else, take what that managed to say and actually apply that. Especially if you're a Democrat. Think about what he says. And if you still want to remain a Democrat, that's your prerogative. But look at what is going on and actually fix the problem. Don't be part of the problem. That's my take on that. Two more topics. Kevin Hart went to the Breakfast Club. He finally spoken publicly about this controversial George Floyd joke. The video in total is 8 minutes. I'm only doing about an hour and a half of it, and then I'm gonna give you guys my take. Then we can continue.
Yeah, the George Floyd joke. It wasn't a tasteful joke to our culture, to our audience, but our audience that's watching the roast. If you're watching the roast, you get why they're doing it. You get why the racial humor is on the table. Like, it's not. I wasn't shocked. Like, that's what they do. Go look at the Tom Brady one. Like, that's what they do. It happens every year when they do a roast. It's not new. This isn't a new. It's not a new agenda. It's not a new approach to comedy.
Do you feel like Tony Hinchcliffe went too far when he made that joke about George Floyd?
It's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect less. I don't expect more.
I feel like you're saying going too far is the point. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes, I mean, that's why you're there. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to, because we're being honest. People are talking about that joke. Talk about his set. Tony Hinchcliffe arguably had the best set, or one of the best sets, between Tony and Cheryl, and I would say Naeem had a really strong set.
Naeem had a very strong set. I was laughing out loud at Tony until that joke.
Until the joke.
But not even just that joke. I don't like when people joke about violent, tragic death. I like Pete's set, and then I was like, why you had to say something about Charlie Kirk? Pete
had a great set too. Pete had a Charlie Kirk joke in there. Like, would I tell those jokes? No. But do I get why they're being told? Mm-hmm. Yes. Like, I'm not looking at Pete crazy. I'm not looking at Tony crazy. Like, that's what I know what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. I know your style of comedy.
So, I saw the set. I heard the joke. Here's my take on that, because I'm a guy of dark humor. So you're gonna tell the joke. Tell the joke. My issue with Tony is he was nervous when he was about to tell that joke. He stumbled, he stutters, he did all this, and I forgot to upload his response, Tony's response to what everybody's saying, because the demeanor that he had in responding to everybody, he had that exact same demeanor and that calmness telling this joke, I wouldn't have a problem with it, believe it or not. Because I agree with all that everybody else saying. This is a roast. If you got everybody talking, the comedian did his job. He did absolutely what he was supposed to do. Especially talking about people come from a different cloth where they push the envelope for a living. And their fan base will cancel them for not pushing that envelope. So they don't need this, what's what I'm looking for? Because you have your core audience and you have your casual audience. these comedians, these people that have a own support system, they don't rely on casual audience. Yeah, they'll introduce themselves to them to let them know, hey, this is how far I go, and I ain't stopping. Just in case if anybody wants to join them. But as far as the joke, I think he was a little bit nervous when delivering the joke. Everything about that joke technically made sense. It's just his delivery was bad. And that's why a lot of people, and I get it, some people are still going to be in an uproar, and they said some things are off limits to you. But to other people, nothing's off limits. I think somebody was commenting on Cheryl's deceased husband as well. She understands the game. She took it in stride, and I think the person that made the joke was a white man. So when it comes to this level of comedy, this realm of comedy, ladies and gentlemen, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You better have thick skin, or you better get the fuck on. However, I will say on the flip side, if you're a comedian, if you're going to take it there, go all the way with it and have confidence when you do it. I miss the Patrice O'Neil. I love the Dave Chappelle's. I like Andrew Schultz, Akash Singh, all these people who is going to push that envelope. Do it with confidence or don't do it at all. Fellas, what's your take?
I'm going to tell you this, right? You can get away with almost, keyword almost anything when you funny in comedy. We understand that there's dark comedy. The thing is this, right? Some of those jokes were bad timed, they were poorly executed, and they were badly misplaced in these sets, right? Now, I watched the Dr. Umar Art of Dialogue interview where he broke down his thoughts on the roast, and I have to agree with him. That wasn't the roast of Kevin Hart. Majority of those jokes were geared towards black women. That was the roast of black women. My biggest issue with that entire roast wasn't even a George Floyd joke, even though I thought that it was bad time, it was misplaced, and it wasn't even funny. Like I said, you can get away with anything if it's funny. I think the timing wasn't there, and I just think that it was a bad joke. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's one of those things, and then you gotta keep in mind pacing when you pacing these jokes out, because I watched earlier somebody reacted to it, and right before that, he made a joke about Kevin Hart being on a plane and something talking about no matter how much money you get, you're gonna always act like that he said ninja. Yep. So it's just like when you rolling back to back these stiff jokes that you know people are gonna look at with a side eye, you can't just round off a bunch of jokes like this back to back to back to back. If you're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? If you're really gonna come like that hard, if you're gonna play that role, I would have only told one hard joke that set if I'm gonna go crazy like that. Like I heard multiple jokes about Cheryl's husband committing suicide, right?
Yep.
Okay, if y'all did that one time, that would have been okay. I can understand. We heard them joke about her husband committing suicide like 20 times. Like y'all had to write 20 suicide, because we know these people not writing the jokes. And it's 17 white men who were the writers of this roast. Y'all wrote 20 suicide jokes about one person, and this is the roast of Kevin Hart. I mean, you got to make it make sense, Chris. I understand that it's comedy, and some stuff you got to let go. But then, like, we can't let these people play in our face and pass it off as comedy.
That's fair. No, that's entirely fair. I have zero problem with what you're stating. Because in comparison to the other roles, I understand Tom Brady. Everybody got Tom Brady, Gronkowski, and other players as well. But yeah, I totally get it. I have a thought on that. But Kush, what you got on it?
This roast showed us all the temperature that this country is going to when it comes to putting racism and things of this nature blatantly in our face. Now, on one side, I didn't have a problem with this joke because they all kept saying throughout the whole evening, hey, we didn't write these jokes. Hey, They want us to tell these jokes. They told us to tell these jokes. Everybody kept getting up there saying, hey, they told us to tell these jokes. I don't want to tell them, but I'm going to tell them. Because it's for entertainment purposes. They're all getting a check. They're all being paid to sit in front of us and make us feel a certain type of way. And this is what they achieved exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to make us feel a certain type of way. And now we all feel slighted because these white men got in front of us and told black jokes, which we know that we don't want them to do. But they did it anyway. And they threw it in our face like, we're going to give you this shit anyway. Excuse my French. We're going to give it to you anyway. And we're going to give it to you raw. And we're going to put it definitely in your face. And now we want to see exactly how you feel about it. Because after the fact, everybody started attacking Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart is not the person that should have been attacked.
Right.
The place that should have been attacked is Netflix and the writers that wrote these jokes. Those are the people that should be feeling the brunt of our comments and the way we are feeling and what you did and what you said about our people. Now, you said it as jokes and you came out as jokes. Oh, ha, 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 it's funny. Oh, just take it as a joke. No. On one side, I'm not taking it as a joke. But on the other side, while I'm sitting here watching a show or entertainment, it's funny to me, but it's sickening to me all at the same time because it was funny. And you brought it to us and you made it funny. But you still spit in our face when you told us this joke. Right. And that's the way everybody is feeling about it.
And that's a fair critique. And Kevin Hart in the interview, like I said, there was about an 8-minute video. He did mention the fact that everybody's blaming him. He said, y'all placing the blame on the wrong person. There's other people you can actually get on. It ain't me. This was a roast starring me. I didn't write the jokes. I didn't go stand out on the platform and tell these jokes. That's them. That's the writers. Put it on them. A lot of people wanted to blame Kevin Hart, but I would say if you're in your feelings, of course you're going to blame Kevin Hart. Some of the guys didn't know who Tony was prior to this. I knew who he was because of the stuff he does with WWE. So I knew who he was, which is why I could tell you this isn't his best joke. He was not comfortable doing this. That's why I was trying to tell our guy Starscreen the other day, but Starscreen is going to be Starscreen. Shout out to Starscreen, though. But, shout out to Kevin. Yeah, Netflix, it could have been better. My highlight was obviously Cat Williams, but it could have been better. Some of the jokes. There were some moments. It made sense, but it's like, the people are going to show up to watch it anyway. So just all you have to do is not mess it up. And Netflix, you did an interesting job of getting people's attention. Now, one last thing, then we'll get to the main topic. This happened earlier today in the Philippines. Let me play the video. So, right now, you see a volcano erupting in the Philippines. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Kick. You just saw a meteor go down behind the mountains, and now you see something shooting up slowly but surely. I don't know what that is, ladies and gentlemen. Some people say, could it be a plane? Maybe. Could it be a star? No, I have not seen stars move like that ever, because there was a little bit like a slight curvish to what I saw. I'll play the video again just in case people missed it. But a meteor did land in the Philippines, I'll probably say some hours ago. And the only thing is, rose from it landed behind a volcano, to be exact. And you see some light shoot straight up. And people are like, what is that? So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been telling you guys, it's a little bit naive to think we're the only people in this universe. Because if you go look in the ocean, I'm a firm believer that there's something in the oceans. I know there's something in the ocean because 85% of it has not been discovered. And sometimes I think that's due to limitations, of course, and that might be intentional. Some of these sea creatures that is popping up, yeah, they look different. So I don't, but that's a sidebar. That's me going on a tangent. I don't believe that we're the only ones in this universe. Matter of fact, the FBI has released another round of footage of UFOs. And one of these days, we're going to have a stream dedicated strictly to UFOs. So, us being by ourselves? No, I don't think so. And based off of that video, I'll play it again while I give it to content. What more proof do y'all want that we're not by ourselves? Go ahead, content.
Am I the only person that feels like the U.S. government has lost all credibility?
I mean,
No. I don't believe shit that they sending to us. I really don't. And the fucked up part about it is that stuff might be true, but it's just like, hey, we're gonna release the Epstein files, but we're gonna redact 70% of this shit. It's just like, I mean, we don't know what y'all putting out. Now, one of those things that I did see, it had reportedly been cited somewhere else. So they do have some stuff that they put out that people have said that they witnessed same things, and some of these things have been documented. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to fake one person seeing something versus 20 people who don't know each other seeing something. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, one person can say this, but when you got 20 people who reported the same thing in the same area around the same time, and they don't know each other, and you got ways to prove that all of these sources are correct, that this person called the police, that this person called the radio station, that this person documented online, different footages, different videos, and they all coincide. It's like, okay, this really happened. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, we know that so many different comments and stuff hit the earth every day, all day. Like, shooting stars are something that's not just rare. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the point I'm saying is, I don't know how much of this stuff that I can believe, because, you know, people be like, this is a distraction, that's a distraction. I don't really believe in that. Because, you know, something that happened and something else that happened, and people say, oh, this is a distraction. And it's just like, a distraction from what? So, but all I'm saying is, I don't believe nothing that the government put out. It's just my bias. I'm at the point now of, when have they ever admitted anything? Like, we find out shit 30 years later.
That's fair. And I kind of go back to the Men in Black. Now that we're talking about aliens, the first Men in Black, when Jay was being overzealous to shoot an alien broad daylight, and Kay had to come over to him and said, "There's always something going on in this world, and the only way that people move on with their pathetic lives is if they do not know about it." So yeah, you're right that the government knows more than what they're telling us, but my take is they're doing that for a reason. Might not be for a good reason, but it might be there's a reason attached to it. But Kush, what's your take on it, man?
I mean, my brother, you hit it right on the head. We have to be naive to think that we are the only creatures in this universe that are intelligent and have, you know, sentient life. So, but again, I don't believe anything that the government tells us anyway, as well, myself either. I mean, and I'm a military man. And I know government, you know, things happen, and things in the military happen, and they tell us, hey, you can't tell civilians this.
Right.
So, and then we have to run with that, and we have to tell, you know, we don't tell people that. We don't tell people what happens or what goes on beyond, you know, when we're sitting in briefings and they telling us or showing us bombings and different things that are happening across the nation, actually. And when they say, hey, this is not for civilians, you can't tell people this. My take on it is, I mean, I watched it, and it does look like something landed and then something else left. Like something was dropped off. That's basically what it looked like to me. Something was dropped off and then something left.
Yeah. And like I said, could some people say it could be an airplane. It could be a shooting star. Shooting stars don't make that type of movement.
No, that ain't no plane.
Yeah, that's. And you said that's not a plane. I'll take your word based off your expertise. I'll take your word for it.
That's not a plane. Yep. Nope.
So just like I said, with all prior to the FBI releasing these files, like I said, just we're not alone, and it's okay. Now, the reason why people are probably going to keep up this charade is because we deal with humans on a regular basis, and sometimes it's best if they don't know anything because their movements are irrational, so their thought process. So I get why people keep stuff to themselves, but there's a video, y'all. We're not alone. I know there are going to be some conspiracy theorists to try to say something. I'm not giving them the time of day. I just don't. Sorry. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Quick Hits. This is the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. Thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, we are simulcast on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We are back on X, ladies and gentlemen. We are still rolling on Instagram, and we are making our debut on Kick. That's kick.com/the BTSI show. Decided to make the change and go down this route. So the more eyes that we have, the more people get to be drawn to our message, and as you get the message, you get the keys to success. Now, speaking of which, I do want to have an open conversation tonight about do men fear marriage. We had a conversation the other day regarding do successful men fear marriage. I want to keep this as general as possible. I want to be all inclusive when we have these conversations about the men who do fear some level of success. I mean, I said fear success. They fear marriage. So let's get started with that. Giving the brothers that I have talked to, when it comes to marriage, let's get the legal stuff out the way. They are scared because, historically speaking, men have lost their assets during the marriage. House, cars, kids, monies, investments, all of it is gone. They are hyper focused on protecting their assets. Now, those are the men who have it. Now, there's some other men who want to mimic those same verbiage and say, this is why I don't want to get married because I got to protect my assets. I was like, you have to have assets to protect them. But that's a conversation for another day. So, one thing I was telling fellas, I want y'all to bring all your fears to us. Tell us what are you scared of so we can find a solution. Not for the sole purpose for you to get married, because if you don't want to get married, don't get married. I would rather you be comfortable doing what you want to do versus do something that you feel like you have to do. So one of the things that was brought to my attention, I'm sorry, I forgot, I didn't acknowledge the chat. IB Wody is in the building. He said it's been a while. I know I got to get back active. They hate the truth. That was regarding the pastor. I mean, when people try to say something crazy, they always do. Cellulite is in the building. What's good, my guy? Matter of fact, I apologize. I forgot to drop the link on the other platforms. But I said, why don't you bring our fears to us? So let's see what the issue is. Because I don't want you guys to live with a problem that there's no solution to. That makes no sense. So with that, a lot of things people kept on bringing up on the legal side of it was protection of assets. Then why don't you normalize it by taking care of it right now? What do you mean about that, Chris? There are ways that you can protect what belongs to you so you can still have it. Granted, when it comes to splitting things down the middle in a marriage, that happens before the marriage usually. I mean, during the marriage usually. So if you own, like I own something of value over here or whatever, if I get into a marriage, um, or in a marriage, or let me rephrase that, if you get into a marriage, that is protected because that was not acquired during the marriage. Anything that's acquired during the marriage is eligible to be split in half if it's unprotected. So with that, all I say is this: prenup. Protect your ass by protecting your assets. Um, trust. Open the trust. So that way everything could go there and he or she don't get to touch it. And another thing, I seen a soccer player do this, Khabib or whoever that guy that's on TikTok who just shrugged his shoulders and got deported. He put everything when he got a divorce. Of course, the woman went to go, his wife went to go looking for it. She couldn't find it because everything was put under, hey Swan, everything was put under his mother's name. That's how his assets was protected. So I don't want to hear anything about assets anymore, especially in 2026, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you're really that concerned about protect your assets, number one, go get some first so it can be protected. But number two, properly make sure everything is secured. Make sure everything is protected. So that way you'll never have to worry about losing half or a portion of it when it's time, or God forbid if it's time to end the relationship. If you keep living in fear, you're going to get, you don't be surprised at the results. Those who live in fear usually get fearful results every single time because that's the energy you put out there. So I don't want to hear nothing about assets moving forward. Go protect them. Go get a trust. Go make her sign a prenup. Or go put everything in your mommy and daddy's name, if that's how you feel. So that eliminates one excuse. Now let's get to the other side. I call it the ecclesiastical side because there's such thing as a ecclesiastic marriage where instead of you go to the courthouse, you can bypass that. You can go to your church. You can get married in the church, and you can keep it like that. What he said? The big timers told us that on Still Fly. That is a fact, and that is a classic song. Got everything in my mama's name, but I'm hood rich. Absolutely. So let's get to the other side. Their fear of marriage. Because I know people. I'm not known them personally, but I heard this one woman. I forgot her name already. Jesus Christ, she's on YouTube. It'll come to me. God rest her husband's soul, but she was married for 20 years. They didn't get married through the legal system. Granted, he didn't want nothing that he owes get tied to her, like loans, credit cards, all that stuff. I think. So they got married essentially right underneath the table, and they was married for 20 years until God called them home. Some people say these women are this, these women are that. And I'm like, look, you think that you're supposed to get every single woman that's out there. Every woman's not for you. You just need to get this right one time, honestly. And I have said this in the marriage series that I did way back when. You need to know who you are first. A lot of people who are living in fear when it comes to marriage don't know who they are. And I'm willing to put money on that, but we can talk about that another time. They don't know who they are. You can't really describe 3 things that makes you or makes you as a man. Because once you figure out what your foundation is, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be easy to find a wife. So let me rephrase that. It's going to be easy to filter out who's wife material for you. There might be something in women that cush like that, may not work for me, and vice versa. But that's because we know we have different definitions of what it means to be a wife, and we're looking for women to fit that definition versus just get anybody out there. All right, you have a breast, you have a vagina, so I'm just gonna rock out with you like that. That's not how this works. A lot of reason why men fear marriage is because they were told something false, a false pre-notion. I think that's what I'm looking for. Maybe not. They have a wrong set of ideologies about what marriage is supposed to be and how women are supposed to be. They are gung-ho on this one image that they believe should be of a wife. But the thing is, that was somebody else's image of what a wife needs to be. What is yours? And yeah, false advertising. I think that's what I'm looking for. Thanks, Waldy. And when you go down the list of seeing what type of woman you want, ladies, fellas, it's this whole idea of seeing these women. It's going to be easy because you'll be like, okay, she's cute, she's great and all, but she can't be my wife because we clash on certain things. The reason why men fear marriage is because they have trouble picking a wife based off of the old adage of what it is to be a wife. White picket fence, or a woman got to be at home, or whatever. It could be whatever adage that we grew up listening to in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. The fact of the matter is, the reality is, there's no one size that fits all. And people are trying to go based off of what a prototypical wife is only one way. No, absolutely not. Swan is a wife, ladies and gentlemen, not legally married. So hear me when I say this, because Swan is gonna say when I say she's a wife, because she's a wife to somebody who wants her to be who she is right now. She's already wife material because there's somebody who hasn't found her yet and can say, "Hey, that's my idea of a wife," and I'm gonna try to tap in with her. See, the men who don't know this thing about marriage or how to pick a wife, and who has probably heard Swan talk, whether it be on my platform or in other rooms, you'll be like, she ain't wife material. She's not your wife material, but she's somebody's. That's all that matters. Maturity is when you realize that every woman you come across is wife material, and the bigger maturity is that you know that every woman is not your wife. That's a form of maturity that takes years for people to gain access to, but y'all got time, hopefully. So my my message to the fellas is real simple before I give it to Kush. When it comes to this fear mongering, this fear stuff, the only enemy is you. Because you keep trying to find flaws, and those are the fears that I brought up. You keep trying to find a flaw in this thing called marriage, when ultimately the ultimate common denominator of your fear is you. The common denominator of your fear is you. You choosing to be scared off of something that already has a solution. Like I said, you don't want to get married, just say I don't want to. Fair enough. Granted, we'll have a conversation. Are unmarried people selfish? We already had that on Clubhouse. I'll bring it to YouTube later. But when it comes to this fear thing, and keep in mind, they found a solution for your fear a long time ago. The biggest problem is what you see in the mirror, fellas. Just being honest. That's my quick monologue. Kush, you there?
I'm here. You said that's my quick monologue. But fear of marriage. I think I'm on the same level that you just gave to Swan. You know, I'm husband material. I just haven't found a wife that matches me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know what I am. I know who I am. I'm completely, perfectly self-aware of who I am, what I've done, where I've been, and where I am now. Nobody can tell me who I am. Nobody can take from me by telling me that I'm not what I know I am already. And being fully self-aware. I think a lot of guys are afraid of marriage because they are out here running after the wrong thing. They're not running after what's right for them, and what might be good for them, and what what they need in their life. And they're running around here looking for what they want. They want, ass and titties and everything, and they want her to be a dime. Everybody wants a dime. Everybody wants a dime plus. Everybody want a boss chick, whatever they call themselves, or whatever they think they are. That's what I think. That's what I think they're afraid of marriage, because they're running into these women and they can't keep up with them, or vice versa. The women can't keep up with the men. The men are doing too much. That's just my take on the marriage thing. But again, I'm a husband. I'm ready for my wife. So if she's here, I should be able to see it sooner, hopefully sooner than later.
Right on. And Abby Wody said in the chat, but marriage is a scam, though. How can it be? I mean, it could be, but I'm about to ask you, was you on your P's and Q's as an adult when it comes to the idea of marriage being a possible scam? Because you have to ask yourself, Wody, what are you looking for in marriage to begin with? You have to ask your question. You have to ask that question first to determine if this was really a scam or not.
Right. I want to know what his definition of a scam is in a marriage.
Yeah, because I would like to know. I would really like to know that. Maybe I hit up Brody on another time, and that might inspire another conversation. Right. But yeah, marriage is what you make of it. Marriage is what you want it to be. So if it is a scam, I would have to ask the person in the matter, the adult, what did you do to come to the conclusion of this is what marriage is? And keep in mind, you chose to get married. You chose the person you wanted to be married to. Where did you slip off somewhere along the road to prosperity? Because there's no way your marriage could be a scam because it's your marriage. You dictate what happens obviously with your partner, but you dictate how this marriage is gonna set up and what's it gonna be. And you don't make it easy. Don't make it easy on them, I guess. Like let them know that just because you're married, that doesn't mean you get to take your foot off the gas. No, everybody's still on go.
Chris, I think people that say marriage is a scam are the people that are marrying or looking to marry for the wrong reason. You're looking to marry for the wrong reason because you're looking at what somebody may be able to do for you, what they got, what they have, who they are, what they maybe look like. And then when those things fall to the wayside, now you're thinking that marriage is a scam, or if somebody has gotten with you and taken everything from you, now you feeling like, oh man, this is a scam. This woman did this to me, and this. No, you chose wrong, or your actions led to this for yourself. Just like you were saying.
Right, and Wody, I know you and your wife are good. I know you're not talking about your predicament. You already know. I know that, man. But right, and to that, because right now Cowboy on the screen, he said men want marriage, they don't want the risk that comes with it. And Cowboy, that's what I said. We gotta start normalizing protecting assets, whether you make us sign a prenup, but first you put everything in a trust so that way it is protected, or you put everything in your mama's name or your daddy's name, so that way, or a family member's name, so that way they have no way of getting access to that. So that literally eliminates the risk that people are talking about because they're worried about the money. All right, I took care of that. Just put everything in a trust and you don't have to worry about her touching it or him. Yeah, in this case, her touching it. Excuse me. That's how you alleviate the issues that's blocking people's way, allegedly blocking people's way when it comes to marriage. But I always tell people, ask people this: I'm coming up with these solutions, but you guys are still looking up for pushback. And I would tell them, like I said, don't get married. That's not what you want to do. If you're good on marriage, don't do it. But then again, let's be honest. Y'all talk about risk and all, but is anybody practicing abstinence or celibacy?
Don't fucking fight with me, nigga! Rookie mistake. Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
I'm just saying, if you guys want to eliminate the risk, stop sleeping around. Because you're worried about the wrong thing. Because marriage... Go ahead, man.
If you want to eliminate the risk, stop dating women that have nothing and then covet things, then covet the monetary things. If you know you got a chick and all she care about is Fendi and Louis and Birkins and all the what you're getting her and what you're giving her, once something goes wrong, she's gonna still want that lifestyle. So she's gonna want to either take it from you, or she's gonna find somebody else that's gonna give it to her if she can't take it from you, because you're gonna be the first person that she's gonna be trying to take it from. So that's why you're saying cover your assets. Cover your assets. Stop dating broke women. And when you with somebody, y'all supposed to be building together. You're supposed to be building building financially, building mentally, physically, and emotionally as well. If y'all building an empire, if you will, whatever your empire is, if y'all building together and y'all both have, some type of wealth or something going for you, if y'all both are coming together and bringing something together, that person, if they leave you, then they're going to leave you and be like, you know what? You keep what you have. I have what I have. You keep what you have.
Right.
I don't date broke women because I don't want them looking for my pockets when if I'm able to take you out, you should be able to take me out and do the same thing. We should be able to give each other a good lifestyle. Now, I'm not expecting her to be able to do, way more than I do, but we should both be giving each other a lifestyle that we want, that we don't want nobody else to be giving us. This is why I want to make you my wife. This is why I want to make you my husband, because we built these things together. We building memories. We building financial wealth. We building a home. We building a family. We built all. Once you built all that shit together, people are gonna want to hold on to that. I'm holding on to what I built with you, and if we on the same page, we both holding on to each other together.
No, that's right, and that's real. Because we always tell women that women chose wrong. Men choose wrong too. You got to be honest. If we were, and a revised version of this marriage series, it's real simple. There's a woman you're looking for, and also again another layer to alleviate your fears. Find somebody that has the same foundation as you, and actually, self community starts first. Your 4 pillars is foundation, principles, obedience, and discipline. That's self-community. You have to find your foundation first. And from that will grow your principles. Be obedient to the principles so you can then be disciplined. And with you going through that journey, ladies and gentlemen, you know who you're going to put up with, who you're not going to put up with. That is probably one of the most consistent advice I have given people in the last year. To alleviate all your problems, you need to know who yourself first. And once you know who you are, it's easy to find who is compatible with you and who's going to rock out and have a smooth process with you. But if you guys keep going for the fattest ass, the biggest tits, and the prettiest smiles, you're going to lose. You risk at losing big time. And I ain't going to help you up off the floor. It's going to cost money neither, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's true. Those are facts. I got a couple of baby mamas that prove that fact. Unfortunately,
I get it. Trust me, I get it. I totally get it. So, fellas, your fear, you have any fear, it has already been alleviated or it can be alleviated, respectfully. Because you say you you can't trust these women. Then why do you deal with them?
Don't fucking fight with me, nigga! Rookie mistake. Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Now, for the record, I'm not advocating anybody go be LGBTQIA community. That's not what I'm saying. Don't put that out there. All I'm saying is this: if women, because a lot of people say the women are not this, the women are not that, but you still deal with them. Why? If they are not everything that you said they are, then you get to the point of what their real intentions is, and they're obviously trying to mask it over marriage. But we'll get into the predatory nature about that in another call. On another live stream, excuse me. But fellas, it's real simple. If you fear marriage, that's a choice. Fear is a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Fear of marriage is another form of choice. You're choosing to be scared when there's nothing but solutions out here. Now, I would rather, like I said, I would much rather you say, just not for me, I don't want to do it, versus on some scary nonsense. Cowboys in the building. Cowboy, you there? Reset, Cowboy, and come right back. It might be your microphone. Because
I'm gonna reset real quick.
Oh, I hadn't said anything yet.
Okay, my bad. All right, Kush. All right, so Cowboy, I do think with this title, men do live in fear when it comes to marriage. Now, whatever the problem is, there's usually a solution, but they have reservations about walking down the aisle. And my thinking to them is just simple: if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't say it's something based off of fear that can be dealt with easily. But do you have a take on that? Well, I'll go get a bottle of water.
Well,
go ahead, man. I'm listening.
I'm thinking about what the lead attorney has said about this. And he said, don't go into marriage thinking that's going to last forever. He said it's just not. He said, so that's part one. But of course, the lead attorney started his YouTube channel to talk to men about prenups because he saw how men would lose so much in marriage. And he was just like, as an attorney, he was like, if they only had a prenup, they wouldn't have to go through all this. So he said, like, the way he balanced it out, and he said, a bad divorce is probably going to be like at most a year. He said, but if you can get 5 to 7 years out of of good marriage, out of it, he said, wouldn't that be the trade-off? And I'm just like, wow, he's really, he's just being analytical about it, because that's what we men do. But that when we're analyzing, because of that's how men think, we're like, okay, then I'm probably not getting married. Even with the prenup doesn't mean, you don't lose anything. It just means that it just costs a lot less for you to get a divorce, but men don't want to be divorced, and a prenup protects your assets, but it doesn't, there's nothing you can do when there's children. There's nothing you could do about custody and visitation. There's nothing you could do about someone that you may be still in love with deciding that, they just don't want to do it anymore. So the fear is legitimate. To toss it to the side and act like that, it's all your fault because you're the man, you in control, that's delusional. You're not in control, especially when a woman could just easily, and anybody could do this, but what we look at when we're looking at the data and the statistics, most of the time it's women that decide that they don't want to be in a relationship and they bounce. you know? And so it's like when you're just doing the math, you're just like, if we're going skydiving and I said, you know what, there's a 50-50 chance that this chute won't open. You're not jumping out the plane. You're like, I'm not taking these kind of chances. So I think it's kind of weird to beat up on men and say they're making all the mistakes. Do men choose wrong? Sometimes it's very blatant. And everyone is telling them, everyone, the friends, the family, they're like, yo, this chick, man, she's not it. But most of the time, you know, you don't see what's going on. What do you think? Women don't lie too? And some women are very good at doing it. They play the long game, get in that marriage, and all of a sudden it's you're dealing with a whole different animal. You're like, who is this person? You know? So the fear is legitimate. I don't know what to do about it. If you're only afraid of your assets, there's the prenup. But if you're afraid of your heart getting broken, yeah, I don't know. You know, there's not much you can do about that fear. You can go see a therapist, I guess. I don't know. But it's all legitimate, brother. You know, this is not something that's totally, you're not going to get in a marriage. This is not the 1800s where you're totally in control of your marriage. This is not a time where, you know, where no fault divorce doesn't exist. And she almost needs your permission as a man to even file for divorce. You don't live in one of those countries. So this is kind of a conversation that's always better with a divorce attorney, with a family court attorney, to kind of explain to people like what's really going on. You know? Let's see, PhD pulled up.
Yeah, PhD content is back. PhD, you there? He's probably watching the game right now because I know they're in the fourth quarter.
What game?
Game 5.
Man, that's not important, man. Tell him stop watching TV.
But I heard what you said. I heard what you said, Cowboy. But because like I said, we said the prenup. Also added, you put everything in a trust. They're not touching that. You can even do something as minimum as put everything in somebody else's name, so that way your assets are protected. I do believe we need to start normalizing protecting assets prior to getting married. Excuse me.
I mean, assets need to be protected anyhow. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but then assets are not protected, you know, or they don't know how to protect them, you know. I heard that Wally, the guy who's, you know, started Walmart, that the way that he set everything up is so that even though, you know, he's dead and gone and his kids are married or not married, but the way he's got things set up is so that whoever they marry can't dig into the Walmart family fortune, you know, which is pretty cool, you know. So they get married, they get divorced, they're not going to run away with the company, you know, or even a portion of it. So yeah, there are ways to set up, you know, things when it comes to assets and money and stuff like that. But we you know, I get this idea that, you know, men are not supposed to have feelings, and, you know, we're supposed to be alpha. You ain't got no feelings, you know, you don't cry, this, that, and third. Like, yo, I'm like, if y'all are saying that, then you've never had feelings for a woman before. And I'm not saying, you know, maybe you didn't, you know, because maybe you're using her as a utility. So if you're getting used as a utility, I guess that's how you going through life. But most men have feelings. You got to understand, men created chivalry. Men created romance. You know, men created these things. And men created the fantasy. You know, the family, the white picket fence, you know, and that's not the real world.
And that's what a lot of people a lot of people are sold on that. That's what it is. That's what it is to live your life. Have the family, the trophy wife, white picket fence. They were sold on the idea of.
I'm not even talking about the trophy wife. I'm not even talking about the trophy wife. So what I learned, you know, back in I forget how old I was when this happened, but I have a cousin fell in love with a woman, you know, But when luckily they didn't have no kids or nothing, but when he asked her, to marry her, after all these years of dealing with her, she said no because of his profession. The very next day he saw her in the car with another guy. And he ended up in a mental hospital, bro. You understand what I'm saying? It broke him. And that taught me a lesson like, wow, you can't really put your all into a woman like that.
It's interesting. It's interesting you said that.
And that's a fringe thing. That's not most men, but that's going to end up in that. That's an extreme. You understand? But understand that men do break down. That if you don't have friends that have cried over their breakups and stuff to you and stuff, then I don't know what kind of friends you got. Even the most thugged out dude, men will either go and cry, which is healthier, or they do on the extreme side, they'll do something violent.
You know what?
Go ahead.
That's actually a good question now to think about, based off of what you said and the actual image that's running in the background right now. Is it the commitment, or is it the fear of losing oneself in the marriage? Because we always hear about how women tend to lose themselves in marriage, which I think is crazy. But men, as based off of what you said, men can lose themselves as well.
I mean, I don't know if men, the way that women talk about losing themselves in the marriage is not the same as men losing themselves. Maybe men lose themselves in the divorce and women lose themselves in the marriage. I don't we don't have any women on this talk here, or no? Not tonight. We don't have any women tonight.
On the stage now, no, this is just the fellas.
Okay. But no, yeah, I think that a lot of more and more today, I think more and more people are starting to just little by little start to accept that men do have feelings and those feelings are valid, and we got to guard ourselves. That's one of the topics that we should talk about in Clubhouse, about not telling women everything, just because the fact that they'll use it against you in an argument, or they'll use it against you in a divorce too. So you know what I'm saying? Men have a habit of looking out for the group. And the more of a leader you are, the more you're going to do that. When women are going through life, they're typically not looking out for the group. Over the years, I had to realize that women are not what we have made them out to be. They're raised to be a certain way, but that's not their nature. I mean, I made a room, I forget what I called it over on Fan Base, but I was talking about how violent women are. How if women really were in control like they want to be, how violent the world would be, because they're so vicious. And of course, the women came in there, flooding in there, proving my point. But have you seen women fight? Dudes will get into a full-blown fight, can't stand each other, and somehow most of the time they don't go after each other's private parts at all. We know that that's a no-no. Women, there are no rules with them, when they fight. You see what I'm saying? So that's not just physical fights, that's the divorces, that's the breakups, that's how they move through life, And this, it's like there's no accountability for it a lot of the times either in the Western world. But when you look at other parts of the country, you're like, geez, now I know why they kind of keep their women in check, because they're afraid that they're gonna do harmful things to them. You see what I'm saying? But we gotta understand, these fears don't come out of nowhere. We all got friends and uncles, and we got own fathers, we got grandfathers, we got all these examples. We have, we think it's a money problem. Then we look at Tyrese crying into a phone because he can't see his kid when he wants to. Doggone, what's name didn't cry into a phone. Who was it that married Jenny? Young Jeezy didn't cry into a phone. But he still ran to an issue when this woman wanted to try to manipulate the situation. She used the child. You understand what I'm saying?
So here's his thing. And I get what you're saying about the fear. It's coming from somewhere, of course. All I'm saying is that we have a solution for it. Shouldn't the fear dissipate to a degree? Because everything that you brought up is fair. It's a fair situation when it comes to marriage. But all I'm saying is we have the technology, we have the solutions for it. The question, so your fear should dissipate.
We don't have a solution for the children.
What do you mean?
Well, you mean what I mean. You walk into a family court, brother, and around this country, you know, over 90% of the time, the courts are not going to be on your side.
Well, that comes in layers regarding why it's leans towards the woman because of the the support system for herself, and
that has nothing to do with why the judge makes that decision. So that's already the first mistake, brother.
Well, no. I'm saying done a one. Okay, done a one. So what I'm saying is there's more. They're not going to give it to a woman. They're like, you're a mother, so we're going to give it to you. That's what I'm saying. There's more to it.
So let me explain. I don't, you know, when you start getting a little older, Chris, you stop caring about why things are the way they are, and you know, you're just looking at this is. You stop caring about why water is wet and why fire is hot. When you know, you don't stick your hand in fire, right? Because you know it's going to burn you. You don't try to figure out the science of how it's burning you. You know, it doesn't matter. It just matters that it burns, and you're going to not put your hand in it. You'll cook with it, and if you're out, you know, in the woods, you're going to warm yourself with it, but you're not going to stick your hand in it. And so we can look at all the different excuses. You know, one of the top things is that the government just wants to rip you off, because if that woman's making a lot more money than you, they'll give you the kids. Is you know what I'm saying? Because it's just a matter of them going after the money.
That's my point.
But my point is, who cares? The fact is, most of the time, men are making more money. You know, so that doesn't help your argument. So most men are going to be in a situation where instead of getting what they asked for, which if they ask for 50-50 custody, you know, because that's going to cut into the child support. And in some states, it will make it no child support. Then they're going to say no. And and realistically, here's something that I've learned from grown folks. You know, you can walk out of that courtroom with whatever the judge says, right? I mean, this isn't advice, you know, don't sign anything you don't want to sign. But let's say you sign, I'm just going to sign because I didn't get this divorce over. Once the two of you walk out of that courtroom, you can make any deal you want on your own. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. You know, if you don't pay what the judge says to pay, she's going to hold that over you. You trying to see your kids more than what the court order says, she's not going to allow it. And a lot of times, guys get sabotaged with the little visitation they have. Every other weekend, it doesn't allow you to be a parent. You know, so unfortunately, what we saw, I think it was Kentucky that changed their laws as far as custody, and the divorce rate plummeted. And so I think another state followed, and I think when more and more states, you know, changed their laws so that, look, women, when y'all walk into this courtroom, it's going to be 50-50 unless you decide on something else. You know, until they do that, then you're not going to see a bunch of men, you know, looking for marriage. I think once the laws are changed, I think men will jump back into marriage. I think that, man, they're going to jump in both feet, because they'll realize that, okay, I could get a prenup, I could get trust and prenup, I could do all this stuff to protect the assets, but I don't have to worry about whether I have access to my children. You know, that's a real big deal. You know, I think having access to your children is a bigger deal than if those are your children. You know, that's an interesting thought pattern, but you know, I think it's true. You know, I think guys care more about having access to the children they raised than whether those children are genetically theirs.
So real quick, because I want to get PhD in, I want to get PhD in there. Then obviously Kush and content.
You keep watching TV.
Well, the game is already done, so Um, with all the problems that you're bringing up, it's hard to go through that if you take care of things on the front end first. So, I'm talking about knowing who you are as a man, so you know what woman is compatible for you. What type of woman or character arc you're looking for in a woman. So that way you don't have to worry about the other things that you talk about because you took care of business first. You didn't rush into it. You sat back, you chilled, you got to know this person, and you did the later on down the road you decide to transition from one status to another as far as single to married. But you took care of things where it's supposed to take care of versus pay attention to how fat her ass is, et cetera, et cetera. You have to see, does this girl believe in the same thing I believe in? Is she smart? Is she good for children, et cetera, et cetera? You saw one other thing and you went right to it. So ultimately what I'm highlighting is there is a solution for all these problems, but the problem is people continue to make it a problem and hyper focus on it when there are solutions to it. That's the problem. That's the only thing I would have for that cowboy. Real quick. PhD.
PhD, man, we're waiting on you.
Build it as we fly.
Yo, here. What's up? What's up? What's up?
There he is. Come on, man. I'm running a YouTube show here. We about to we on TV, man. So do men we was having a conversation the other day about do successful men fear getting married, but I wanted to keep this topic general as possible. Do men fear marriage, and what is it that they fear about marriage? And on my own personal time, I just came up with solutions that people had issue with marriage. It varies, and based off of my observation, it seems like the fear that men generate is self-inflicted.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
Well, I think that because first you said successful men. I think that successful men. Like I got a homie now that he's considering marriage, but he wants to make sure that she signs a prenup because he has like he get a lot of money. Yeah, sold his house during the COVID and got a nice little sum of money then, and he just he just want to make sure that he can leave it to his kids instead of if this girl he wants to marry, so she can't get none of it. So I think highly successful men are always thinking about their assets and the financial ramifications of marriage. The average man just got a regular job or I think he just fears the commitment part of it. Um that's what I think. The commitment part is something that he fears because you vowing before God to do this, and so when people think about that, that's it's reason to get it's reason for fear. So that's kind of what I feel. So, is the fear warranted? Yeah, it is warranted.
Is there any fear that has no solutions?
I don't know when you say, yeah. I mean, like, okay, some people fear flying, fear heights, so they don't fly airplanes, right? So the solution would just be don't go on airplanes, don't go on roller coasters, don't do things
So
that
maintain the fear versus get rid of it, correct?
or avoid the situation that would cause the fear. Some of my old school aunties, they've never flown a plane. They drive here to Arkansas, Michigan to Arkansas all the time. They just not flying. Some of my old school relatives, you know what I'm saying? They just not doing it.
And you know what, Chris? That's what a lot of young men are choosing. They're choosing not to get married. That doesn't mean they don't want to, but they and like I said, the fear is real, and it's not just assets. Like I said, because you go on Lee Attorney's show and he explains to you, you can make your prenup ironclad. There's no, and it's not about, you don't have to be wealthy to have a prenup. You can put your little sneakers in there in your PlayStation, because unfortunately, when the divorce happens, most likely, if that's all you got, she's going to try to take it to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? So they don't want to see the pain that they've seen, that they're looking at other men go through. They don't want to go through that. And unfortunately, life isn't a love story. Life isn't an R&B song, and life can be really painful. So if there is a pain that you want to, avoid, then you just avoid the marriage altogether, because you're not going to go in with full control, that's just not going to happen. How are you going to control another human being and their wants and desires? They're free too, I mean, last I checked, slavery was over. So, no one's controlling nobody, right? Nobody owns anybody. And, no matter how perfect, I mean, how many people did married couples, or not even married, just couples, and you're like, oh man, they're perfect. And then they're broken up, and you're like, where's so-and-so? Like, oh, we broke up. And then you're thinking, but you were perfect together.
Will and Jada.
Yeah, well, they still together.
That's optimistic.
I mean, but you can't say they divorced. I mean, they're together. Dude, I have
yeah, you're right. Legally, they're still married. You're correct.
I have an aunt that, she went into the grave not divorcing my uncle. Man, by the time my uncle had a whole nother woman. But he neither one of them would file for divorce. I don't know if they were just too lazy, but and I remember being a little kid and asking my aunt how come they were still married, and she just never would answer. It was always like an answer that wasn't an answer. So now I asked my mother and I asked my other aunts, just being a kid, just curious, and I always respected that they just never. And there's legal consequences, because when he passed away, the pension went to her. It didn't go to the woman he was living with. I'm sure she wasn't happy about that.
She wasn't.
But give it up to the people who stay married no matter what, man. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, excuse me, Miss Susie is on the stage with us right now. Hey, Miss Susie. Like I said, the ideas of fear is self-inflicted. It's a choice. And I haven't heard a fear yet that hasn't had a solution to it. You may not like it, how people go about executing that solution. That's fine. But that doesn't negate that there is a solution for a problem. So I do think...
I'm sorry, I missed the solution for the children, bro.
You say what?
I said I missed the solution, unless you talked about it before I jumped on the live. I missed the solution for what.
Everything's going to go back to self community, foundation, principles, obedience, and discipline. It's always going to go to that. And I will tell people that's actually the foolproof. That's a foolproof way of getting through life, especially when you're dealing with the general public. Now, we'll also say this: Are you gonna find your ideal person based off of that premise? You will. It's just gonna take longer. So you're gonna have to be hearing or giving out a lot of no's before you get a yes. And you get my point. Take care, like I said, take care of stuff in the beginning, so you don't have to worry about nothing in the back end. Child support, alimony, or et cetera, et cetera. All of your assets, all that's taken care of. Just focus on what type of woman, if I was to get married, what type of woman would I want to be with me? Once you come down to that conclusion, it's easy to eliminate the entire fear.
Well, what's interesting is that our parents used to choose for us. You know, our parents used to make the decision. You're not marrying that woman. You know, and for women, you're not marrying that man. You know, and because they had to meet the other parents, they had to see how they, you know, how they lived. You know, there's certain rules, and nowadays, you know, we're all grown. And I'm going to do what I want. You know, but when you're looking at the whoever you're looking, when you're looking at this other woman, and it's the same thing for women too. This is why they end up with the, you know, what we call the Pookies and Ray Rays and stuff like that. You know, you looking at it through rose-colored glasses. You got blinders on. You can't really see when you're on the inside. You know, which is why you have to have people on the outside that you trust, and then follow that. You know, which is, you know, if those of us who, you know, have parents that are alive, you know, run it by them. You know, have them meet, you know, whoever you're dealing with, you know, and, you know, just, you got to talk to people who you trust, and don't be afraid of hearing the truth about a person that you feel like you're in love with. You know, nothing, go ahead.
You said talk to people that you trust. That's not only exclusive for your homeboy. That goes outside of that. That goes into the dating room as well.
It is, but I find it interesting when they interviewed Jeezy about, you know, when they was asking him about, you know, his marriage with Jenny Mai and stuff like that. He said what he learned is that he, you know, he can be a good husband, but he also learned what his limitations were. So obviously there's red flags that he saw, and he thought that he could deal with Jenny. And then he realized that, yeah, I can only deal with so much, you know? So the next time he chooses, you know, he'll be making better choices. They'll probably take, well, when they both chose each other, it was during COVID. So that's usually a recipe for disaster, when you're kind of locked down and you don't have access to a lot of human beings. But you know, now he knows to take his time a little bit more. He knows what he wants and what he doesn't want in a relationship. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life, where I'm a lot pickier than I used to be. You know, there's certain things that I will see, you know, women that, you know, I think may be cool, but I know that it's not going to work with me and them. Like, no, that's not going to. And it's a thing that my older sister used to tell me about. You know, she used to say, like, you know, you need a woman that's just going to do what you say, that, you know, is going to blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't want that. You know, I need, I need somebody going to push back a little bit, you know, and, you know, need, you know, somebody intelligent, blah, 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 you know. And it turns out that, you know, women that are going to, you know, push back all the time, that's not for me. It's not for my personality. And I had to learn that the hard way, you know, because I can always, you know, bully a woman into doing what I want, but then they grow to resent me, right? So that doesn't work. So yeah, it's like I really need a passive woman, but even to this day I don't want a passive woman, but a passive woman is what fits my personality. That
might be, that's okay. You said this is the type of woman that I want because this is what works for me, then cool. That's because one thing I always tell people, what I just got to saying earlier, is everybody is wifey material and everybody's husband material. The only thing is that might not just be your wife. That could be somebody else's. So get out that person's way and let them go find their significant other.
Yeah.
So, not wrong with that at all. Let me get this out.
Yeah. What we need and what we want, you know, it's like a diet. You know, you're trying to lose weight and you want the cheesesteak, you know, that's what you want, but that's not what you need. You know, you know what I'm saying? You got to cut the calories. So that's kind of how it is. And you know, for a lot of us, what we want will want us too in that moment, because Mother Nature doesn't care about long-term relationships or anything like that. You know, like it just cares about procreation, about, you know, are you genetically compatible to make, you know, genetically better children, I guess, right? So that's kind of how, you know, on the baseline animalistic level, you know, we have that attraction, but it's not a long-term attraction. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I get that, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate everybody's insights on this. Like, you know what type of woman or what type of person you should be with, and that is compatible for you. It's just that it's gonna take some time. You're just gonna have to make some time for it, and just wait and let it happen because because if not you rush into some things. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna end up making a wrong decision. And I see Susie in the chat. Let me make sure I put her as a mod. There we go. All right, Susie's taken care of. But I appreciate the insights, ladies and gentlemen. Well, fellas, trust me, I really do. But one thing I'm just gonna say is, like I said, this whole idea of fear, y'all can come up. Anybody can come up with a reason why they don't want to get married. And guess what? Marriage is optional. So is fear. So you're not going to get married. Make sure it's not predicated off of fear. That's all I say. Because don't tell you should be scared if there's no solution to the problem. There's a solution to all problems, especially when it comes to marriage. Just don't let your decisions be fear based. That's all I ask for. Now, this is the BTSI show. I'm your host, Chris with Jay. Thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, we are simulcast everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on Insta. We're back on IG Live, which is actually streaming longer than I expected. That's a first. We are here back on X, formerly known as Twitter, and we are making our debut on Kick streaming device service. Excuse me, kick.com/the BTSI show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go. We got Francis in the bed. You ain't lying because I'm only getting married once. People take marriage as a joke. Yes, they do. Honestly, they do. And I get the idea of marrying once because you don't want to go through this process again. But to avoid the last comment, people take marriage as a joke. I agree. I just avoid them whenever it comes to that. It's like, if you don't respect marriage or you don't respect commitment, you taking it as a joke. And, well, there goes that idea of us being together down the road. So, yeah, I get that. So, one more thing before we go, ladies and gentlemen. So, I want to take a moment and say this. This was brought to my attention earlier, and y'all, we just literally did a stream on this last week regarding what goes on this app. Let me see if I can find that. Oops, let me see if I can find that thumbnail. And no, I can't find it. It's all good. Nope, can't find it. It's all good. So, I did a thing about kings are not concerned about what peasants do, and that feeling still stands to this day. Now, when it comes to us, like I said, it's me. It's Bad Apple Studios. It's Rotten Rose Media. It's a conglomerate. It's what we are, and when we do things in the room, it's organic. Especially the guys. For somebody to talk down on what we're doing and to then mimic or copy everything that we're doing intentionally, it's weird. Very, very, very weird. When this was brought to my attention, I just gave that meme, that emoji, just like this, eyes closed. It's like, really? Then I put a shaking my head emoji, and I was like, oh well, carry on. Hashtag Chris is always right. I'm gonna say this, ladies and gentlemen. To the children that are out here playing the games, Daddy's talking right now. Just listen up. I am disappointed in what you guys are doing, because if you wanted to know how this works, all you have to do is ask. Literally, all you have to do is ask. And I'll give you the entire game for free. And if I have to put you down with people who knows this better than me, I will do that as well. This is a level of haterism that I did not think should exist in certain people. But I'm gonna say this: as your father, y'all, I'm disappointed in you guys. I really am, because what you're trying to do is copy what we're doing in order to get us out the paint. Here's the problem with that: everything we do is organic. That's your biggest problem. Everything that we do is organic. So there's a specific results that you're looking for, and you're not going to get it, because my style of work is predicated on my creativity. And like I said, you're going to lose every single time when it comes to my brain about how creative one can be. All right, I got a resume. It's like, it's a false comparison. So if you want to literally bop off our titles and content, and I'm from an era where we call people boppers who bite off of people's styles. If you're gonna bop up our style, it's like, come the fuck on. Like, you can go right ahead, but you don't spend all this time attacking people, attacking us, only to do exactly what we're doing. Have you lost your fucking mind? And this is why I say they need us. We don't need them.
Don't fucking fight with me, nigga! Rookie mistake. Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Nevertheless, I am a hater. I am a person who still has a heart, who still believes that my purpose is to assist others.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, sweetheart. If you guys want to know how I do all of this, ask. All you have to do is just literally ask Chris, how do you do this? And I can tell you where to go, what to utilize, and here's all the information. I can literally give you that easily, because I don't want no one to fail. I don't. I really don't. There's enough money out there for everybody. Let me say that again. There's literally enough money out there for everybody. However, if you're not a content creator, there's little to no money available for you. But that's a story for another day. If you want to, I wouldn't say be part of the team. Well, granted, that's a content piece, Swan, PhD, star screen conversation about people being part of the team. I'll let them take care of that. But if you want to know how the game works, open your fucking mouth and ask instead of bopping off of what I and others are doing. That is corny, cornball behavior. Real talk. Ashton's in the building. What's up, Ashton? So, I wish the member of my team didn't bring that to my attention because we could be talking about something else different right now. But it's like, come on, y'all. At least have the decency to check. Like, you guys know when back in the day when you guys used to copy off of people's assignments or tests. Don't act like y'all don't, because I know y'all did. So stop it. When you guys used to copy off of people's tests, you make sure you erase. You change the answers up to make it seem like you did this on your own, so you don't look like you completely plagiarized somebody else's work. That's exactly what I saw earlier today when they brought that to my attention. People are plagiarizing off of us for the sole purpose to pillage people from the audience. But here's the problem with that: people who are supporting us are already here. You're not taking away anybody that was never here. So here's what's gonna happen. To my team, because it's not really for the peasants. This is really for my team. If y'all could really just, at the bare minimum, if you're not gonna focus, well, actually everybody's focused, so that I'm not even gonna put that out there because my team and the people that I work with are solid. Just keep these peasants away from me, because I'm already on a blocking spree. A lot of those people can't get in contact with me, but just in case.
Who you don't block, Chris? Point them out. Do you have any examples for us, sir?
No, nobody on YouTube. Nobody on YouTube as of yet. But
everybody doing all right.
Oh yeah, we good. But on the clubhouse sides, like I said, y'all, again, this is your father talking. I'm disappointed in y'all. I really am. Because y'all could have just really asked and get down with the team. Or just go do your own thing, just with some assistance. Yeah, you don't have to tell people you got it from me. I wanted to help out and keep it pushing. I like to work behind the scenes. But you're going to literally try to tear us down, just only copy our styles. Any respect I had for you is gone now. Real talk. So
let me ask you something, Chris.
Hold on, Ashton. So in closing, Daddy's gonna go back to work, and hopefully you clean up this mess before Daddy gets home. And that's last call. What's up, Ashton?
Did they really copy? Maybe I came in late. Did they really copy your style as in like a negative connotation, or was it as in admiration?
Negative connotation.
Okay.
I know. Trust me. I know the difference. I know when people are paying homage, and I know when people are just biting off of other people's styles.
Yeah, I ain't arguing with
you. Quite frankly, they're biting off of the style of people on my clubhouse team, which like I said, I told them they need us, we don't need them, so expect this to happen. And also expect me not to give them any attention because they salivate at when their name is dropped or when their name is called. I'm not saying y'all names. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all my kids, respectfully. That's it. Cowboy, PhD, any final words? Because I know my boy Ashton just pulled up on that. Thanks for the support, man. I appreciate it, by the way.
Ain't no problem. I finally seen the link in the comment. I said, let me go and show some love.
Oh yeah. When there's are you getting everything situated so you can get back to the YouTube thing?
Yeah, so I had to damn, hold on. Let me cut this shit down. Give me 1 second. So yeah, I had to order some more headphones and shit. I end up doing that. So now I'm gonna have to when I get back to Houston, I'm gonna probably have to hit you BB up to unlock my damn iPhone. That motherfucker locked up on me.
Jesus.
But I don't use it no more. So I mean I really ain't in no rush. So I'm gonna have to I don't know.
Nah, I get it, man.
That's what had all my damn thumbnails and all the pictures and shit on there. So yeah, that's the
Well,
only
like I
thing
said,
I'm waiting on there.
yeah, you can take that to the Apple Store. I'll unlock that for you. But we'll talk about that offline, though.
All right.
So, in closing, y'all, because like I said, I gotta take care of some things. I was waiting for 11 o'clock to get here, and it's right on time. So we can go ahead and I can go
I'm
ahead.
surprised you lasted this long.
Um, trust me, since the season started, you talking about 4 hours. Hey, Candace, you talking about 4 hour streams back to back. So it's like, damn. So season 12 is gonna definitely go down as probably my most longest content that I've been putting out. So
Yeah, because you usually do like a 10-minute stream and jump off.
oh, you talk about get it off your chest. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, I ain't forgot about get it off your chest. Like throughout the day, I just get on live, talk my shit, and head out. But now that we are on Kick right now, and I downloaded something kick.com/the BTSI show. Those who's watching, they have it to where um, I can start doing on the road content just through Kickstarter where it's dual screen or double camera. So I was like, oh, I like this much better. Granted, I'm not the what you call that thing? A selfie stick type of person, but
Yeah, I hate that shit, boy.
yeah, I'm not a selfie stick type of person. I'll just stick to using the arms that God gave me. But I'm gonna be doing more of that just on different platforms now.
Chris J, if you didn't know, so what I do is I found some little gadgets on TikTok, like you can it's like a little cup holder thing, but it's for like your thing at the top for the mirror at the top of the car, and it clip on, and you can hook your phone on there. So I hate this selfie stick shit too. Like I got like 3 of them, and I'm like, damn, I just want on to fall out the truck or something.
Oh yeah, I
So
got a
I can't.
particular one that's a suction cup that's in my car right now, and I'm gonna definitely use that because I've been at one point I had a segment to where I used to do a show, albeit recorded, but I would drive to work, and during my drive to work, I just get a lot of things off my chest back then. So we're definitely going to be doing that now, and people get to really see where I'm going, where I'm headed to, and drive around the city, show our place in Houston. So trust me, I'm excited for that. Kick is actually might be a nice little thing that we got going on here. And and also real quick, yeah, before we go, I will be doing eventually exclusive streams for like Kick, Twitch, and TikTok. So we'll talk about that down the road. But yeah, so how many platforms is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and TikTok 7, Clubhouse 8 platforms. Like I said, y'all, stop trying to copy off every single thing I do. It's not going to work out in your favor. I want everybody to win. I really do. If you want to win, just ask for help. If you don't know what you're doing, and I'll be more than happy to tell you, I'm not going to broadcast it. I'm not going to say you owe me anything. I just want you to win. Nothing more, nothing less.
Fuck that. Chris J, you know how to hook the StreamYard up to TikTok? I'm asking. Fuck that.
Yeah, they have the option now. Can you live stream? They don't have that option yet. It's more so of posting shorts or stuff to your TikTok live. But I have AI program that I use that I want to do that is not to do it manually. But I will talk about that off air, man.
Okay. Well, I'll let y'all go ahead and end it. I just came through. I finally caught a live.
No, it's all good, man. But Cowboy, PhD, any final words?
Nice meeting y'all, Cowboy and PhD.
Yeah, likewise, bro. Final words. I don't know. I was listening to what you were saying about not letting fear control you, and it's all interesting. I think that we have to, like I said this before. I don't think that we should go into marriage thinking that we're going to have control just because we're a man. I think that's going to be too much pressure. There's two people in that marriage, in a normal in a normal traditional marriage, because we got the poly people out there, but whoever's in that marriage, that's who controls how that marriage works and the outcome. And if one of you are not, don't want to be in that marriage, then it's going to fail. So. Yeah, you can protect your assets, and I'm sure, you go speak to a therapist, and I'm sure there's ways to protect your heart also. I think we have to normalize that, men do give a damn. All of this doggone, this alpha male nonsense that's been going on the internet where, we don't have feelings and this, that, and the third. And, it's like, I remember Bill Burr said that we men die early because we can't admit that a puppy is cute. You know what I'm saying? So I think that
that's real. That's real.
I think that once we realize it's okay, and every man's different, but I think once we realize it's okay to actually have feelings and express those feelings, I think that will, help us with our decisions when it comes to marriage. And I'll land there.
No, that's a bars. Bars. I will definitely make sure that makes his rounds. PhD, any final words, sir? Hey, yo, Skinny. Even call him Skinny PhD. He's still on response. But shout out to PhD. Those are people. I see Swan still in the building, probably in the chat listening. Thank you, Swan, for pulling up. I greatly appreciate it. And like I said, y'all, this thing about fear is a choice. Fear is 100% a choice. The question is, are you going to acknowledge it, and are you going to find a solution for it? And when it's time, are you going to then execute said solution? Questions for you to think about until we come back next time. When will we be back? I don't know. I don't see why Sunday. Hey, Poppy. I don't see why Sunday night is not a thing. But we'll definitely see about either Sunday night and that type of stuff. And also, y'all, we're gonna make some adjustments to the schedule. We may open up Wednesdays. We maybe, we'll see. But that's down the road. But PhD, shout out to you. Cowboy, shout out to you. Those who are watching, you want more content like this, subscribe and share. Follow me on all my socials. That includes kick.com/the BTSI show. Participate, waive all rights and privacy. We're on the road to 1,500 subscribers. Once we reach that goal, one lucky person will get the $150 cash out giveaway, and we're gonna do 3 runner-ups. We'll make sure we give out money. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is the BTSI show. I'm your host, Christopher J. We will be back Monday. Peace out. Y'all have a good one.
Extraterrestrial. Like an extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial. Doctor? Like I don't belong. I feel like I don't belong. Like I don't belong. I feel like I don't belong.
a mess. Hey, don't even worry about it.